like Will and Jada don't even have it in them anymore to keep dragging along that troubled marriage. Word is, Jada just revealed that they're officially getting divorced. And people's reaction was basically, about time, because there's only so much a person can endure before reaching their limit. But what finally made them decide to walk away from their relationship? And could it be linked to those long-standing rumors about Will that had been circulating for years? It's still wild to see how they went from being one of Hollywood's most admired couples, with everyone wishing for the kind of love they shared, to being mocked and criticized for all their drama. Not too long ago, they were seen as the perfect example of lasting love in such a tough industry. But once that entanglement situation hit the public in 2020, everything changed. Their image as a couple completely crumbled, and people never looked at them the same way again. That whole scandal caused major chaos, especially for Will because fans couldn't believe he just stood by while another man was with his wife, and even gave his approval for it to happen.
I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformation from their marriage to life partnership that they've spoken on several times, and it, not involving romanticism. He gave me his blessing, and I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life.
Even with all the drama, Will and Jada stood firm in their decision to stay together and made it clear they were in it for life. They tried to present the idea that they were working on their marriage, or at least their partnership, but since then, even more things came out that had people questioning the unusual arrangement they had. In 2023, Jada released a book where she spilled everything about the relationship and admitted it had been broken from the very start. Will had already put out his own book in 2021, where he mentioned infidelity and tension, but Jada's book took things to another level. She revealed that they had been separated in every way except legally since 2016 and were living completely different lives. Still, even though she admitted she was unhappy, she explained that one reason she stayed was because she promised Will before marriage that divorce would never be an option. Separation? Maybe, but divorce? Never. That was also why they got married without a prenup and chose to frame their union as a partnership rather than a traditional marriage. Their brand as a power couple was strong, and they didn't want to break it apart. But here's where things started to get messy. While Jada claimed they had been separated for years and had other romantic partners, many people side-eyed the situation because it seemed like Will never got the memo. It looked like he was still fighting for a marriage that, according to Jada, no longer existed. Then, right before Jada's book was released, Will landed himself in the biggest scandal of his career. During the Oscars, he walked on stage and slapped Chris Rock for making a G.I. Jane joke about Jada. Watching it back, it was clear that Will initially laughed at the joke. But once he noticed Jada's expression, he stormed up and told Chris to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. The backlash was immediate. Will lost movie roles, brand deals, and had to release an apology video to begin repairing his image. But when Jada's book dropped, she distanced herself completely, making it clear that what Will did had nothing to do with her.
I can't force Will to do anything.
And you and Will weren't together.
We weren't together as, we were family. I was there with him as family, but we weren't together at that time.
That really left people feeling some type of way. It's one thing to disagree with him in private, but for Jada to not even stand by Will publicly, especially after he defended her so fiercely, made the internet realize that he was the only one still invested in the marriage. Jada had already checked out. Yet, despite everything, Will continued to show up for her and made it clear he planned to stand by her for life. Since then, though, the two have rarely been spotted together, unless it's for family-related events. Recently, Will dropped a new album and was even seen performing on the streets of London like he was on tour. On top of that, he shared the stage with singer India Martinez in a way that had everybody talking. Things got very steamy between them, and photos later showed India backstage trying to jump into Will's arms as if he wasn't a married man. The two have become pretty much Instagram official, and it seems like they're spending a lot of time together. At this point, Will is doing everything except staying home and working on the so-called lifelong marriage he and Jada promised to maintain. But the word going around is that he's been away so much because there's really nothing left to fix.
The PR of it all, the life partnership is not working. He has a woman that he's in love with, and she is not Black. And he is now talking to lawyers. The issue, and so he is setting up to divorce.
Ever since Jada and August Alsina's entanglement was exposed, Will has been under intense scrutiny, and his career and reputation as an actor have taken a serious hit. He's had to deal with a wave of public humiliation, and people no longer view him as the man who always had his life under control.
Dear Will Smith, someone has to say it. Jada don't want you no more. You know, when she bought the farm in Maryland and she decided that that was going to be her thing, you should have left her right here in the good state of Maryland. Let me tell you why. I think Jada married Will because obviously he was like a great catch, right? It's Will Smith. He's on the precipice of being this major superstar. He accomplishes all of those things. And I think she was pressured from family and friends and outside influences. I don't think it's what Jada wanted to do. Jada is not happy with herself. I think now that she's promoting her book Worthy and she's getting more in depth about her relationship with Tupac that was platonic, but at one point he did ask her to marry him. She turned him down, so then he friend-zoned her. I think that's one of the biggest regrets of her life. And so Will is paying for all of that because Jada picked her second choice. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's the consolation prize. Like, oh.
Still, despite all the criticism, Will's brand and career have managed to stay fairly strong. Jada, on the other hand, hasn't done much, at least in public, to help protect or support his image. In fact, many believe that their marriage itself has caused the most damage to his reputation. Some insiders even claim that Will has come to realize he doesn't need the marriage to work out as badly as he once thought, and that he's actually much happier outside of it than being stuck in it.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I am extremely happy that Will is finally waking up and seeing this for who she is.
Rumor has it that the way Will's been carrying himself lately, especially that kiss with India, was the final straw for Jada. And since they never signed a prenup, it's safe to say this divorce could get very messy. Still, one thing most people agree on is that this split has been a long time coming. I'll keep saying it. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett are a perfect example of what happens when you settle. Just because someone likes you doesn't mean it will work. Both people have to want each other with the same passion. Honestly, this is the happiest Will has looked in years. All he needs to do now is finalize things, get that divorce, and run for the hills. If they do end up going through with it, it might actually be the best news. They could finally move on and be free from each other, especially since their kids are grown. What do you guys think? Will Will and Jada finally take that last step and end it for good? Share your opinions in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next video.